a magical life.
Finding Neverland follows the relationship between playwright JM Barrie and the family that inspired Peter Pan, or the boy who wouldn't grow up. One of the most beloved stories of all time. This new musical, packed with mesmerizing visuals, irresistible songs, and plenty of laughs, is a timeless story about the power of imagination and spectacular proof that you never really have to grow up. And two stars from Finding Neverland who never have to grow up, at least on stage, right? Billy Harrigan-Ty and Christine Dwyer. How are the both of you?
Great.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Oh, I say we are really excited that you're here, and I love talking with actors who are traveling the country right now in these fabulous shows. But this is a show that I'm not all that familiar with. I've just always heard wonderful things about it. So please, Billy, set the stage for us.
Sure. Well, I play the role of JM Barrie, and the story follows sort of his career as it's hit a stagnant place. And he meets the Llewellyn Davies family in Kensington Gardens. And from there, he sort of fosters this relationship with Sylvia and her 4 boys. And from that inspires the story of Peter Pan.
And Peter Pan is one that we all know, we all love. Did you learn anything about Peter Pan as you dove into this role?
Yeah, well, I definitely actually learned just a lot about where the characters came from. And most of the characters, like Captain Hook and like Wendy, and obviously the Lost Boys, come from real people that J.M. Barrie met and had relationships with in his life. And in our story, you learn where all of those characters kind of came from and who in his life inspired him to write those characters. So my character was really inspired Wendy, which I didn't know. So yeah, you definitely learn a lot. It's kind of like it's like the hook of the Peter Pan storytelling.
I'll say no pun intended, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and I gotta ask, I mean, Billy, you know, obviously this is focusing around J.M. Barrie, and he sounds like a colorful character in the sense that he's taken this real family, and then you add the flying and the Captain Hook, and so there's definitely some imagination there. Playing this role in particular, has this kind of changed the way you look at what you do, or have you been able to pick up any of his characteristics?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think what's been so fun and fascinating for me about doing this is, you know, we've both been a part of big productions before and worked as professional actors, but I think for me this has been a great reminder of why I got into this business and into this profession in the first place. And it's just all about spending 2 hours of my day in my imagination and playing dress up and having fun and doing sword fights with the kids. And at the end of the day, that's what our story is about. It's about rediscovering your youth and your creativity. And for me, it's been a really sort of artistic and personal experience all in one.
I mean, Christine, same kind of thing. Were you able to be reminded of the never growing up philosophy that is Peter Pan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think being able to play the mother of the 4 boys is really helpful with that, because my whole show, it's basically them and him, and those are really the only people that I interact with on stage. So for the most part, my co-stars are these kids who, you know, are kind of rambunctious, and we have 6 of them on the road, 4 on at any given time, and based on my personal relationships with them, my show changes, which, you know, in a normal big production without children, you kind of get into a routine and you forget that you can really play around. And I think just having their energy on stage makes my job really easy, and also reminds me of the fact that it doesn't need to be the same show every day. It can be different, and it can be inspired based on the kids that are on stage and the audience reaction to it. And I think that that's just really, really special, and really makes me happy to be a part of this production.
And I would say, in closing, unfortunately we're almost out of time, but I do have to point out, you brought up your kid co-stars. We were talking about there's so many similarities in like broadcasting, we all date and marry each other. You guys kind of have had that too with your separate spouses, right?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. My wife plays Mary Barrie. She plays my wife in the show. So that's been a great adventure for us to be able to tour together and work together.
And your fiance is also in the business?
My fiance is in Waitress on Broadway, which is another Diane Paula show. So she has basically paid for our wedding, our upcoming wedding, which thanks, Diane.
See, we like to go behind the scenes with the actors so that you can check them out on the Straz. Of course, we're talking about Finding Neverland, which is playing right now through Sunday, June 4th. There's their website. There's the phone number. Go ahead, get tickets, and get out and see this wonderful show. Thank you to the both of you today.
Thanks.
You.